Hello everyone, Tanak here. Welcome to episode 70 of Building My Industrial Empire in EVE Online. Let's start with the progress report. As you can see, the net worth of my character plus that of the corporation is now at 226 billion. So if we go with the tracker here, there is a little progression again this week. So if we want to look into details here, I have it here. You can see that Tanak has lost 5 billion. Honestly, don't ask me where. I got no clue where that money go. It is not actual cash from what I see. My wallet balance is still around 30 bill. My asset, it's coming from assets mostly because I didn't have any great loss. You can look at my guild board. I think I lost 1 Ferox during the week. So either it was stock asset that I had that lost the value, or the value of skill point, because I know it's counting skill points, so the value of skill point might have dropped a little bit. I mean, so anyway, on paper I'm worth 5 billion less this week, I guess. Aside from that, Erica has gained a little bit that skill point. The corporation gained significantly. Again, asset, moon taxes, generally that's about it. So all in all, pretty good progression. Well, stable, a little less. It wasn't like the crazy week we had a little bit. It seems like it calmed down. Again, value with the new industrial change, our asset value is all over the place, so it's hard to say. And when you're starting to calculate like that amount of asset between ships, between it will have some variance day to day, but still look like we're progressing. And if I just go by wallet balance, we have more money in the wallet than last week. So that's it for the actual net worth update. Let's go with HR. As you can see, the Vampire now has 485 people. We did have a good progression, but now we're still progressing, but a little more slowly. This week we didn't have a huge increase in member, but still there's an influx of member. We're at no point I would say that we are capped. We are at our highest number of active player. We that orbit now around 140. We got to 145 at some point, but it is around that 140 active member. Obviously it's never going to be the same, because sometimes if you don't get killed and don't kill anything during the week, you're not showing there, but it's just an indicator. But still very very active corp. If I go here in members, member list, as you can see, they are like real live active member in the corp. Like a few of them, I could do a little cleanup, but nothing major. So we are holding on to the people that we recruited from the big talking station boost that we got. And I am currently talking with another corp that has around 40 active pilot, and we are discussing about them joining, possibly joining our group. Again, that I can't say everything right now because it's still in the negotiation process, and I still need to. Sometimes you talk and sometimes you say, okay, 40 pilot, then you look on grid and it's more 25. So it's hard to say, but still moving forward and still growing. If I look at locally, in pure blind, because I like to compare myself to the other group just to see like how many people. Bender can have about 200 active pilots, and toilet paper around that number too. So I would say we were half the size of those two juggernauts here, and now we're more 75% of their size in term. And I think that clearly place us as the third strongest group in the area in terms of active pilot. Then again, you would need, if you want to like really see military strength, you would need to evaluate like size of cap fleet, skill level of the pilot, and everything. But I think that all in all, well, Volta, you can't really, they're not very active in pure blind. They're more in fade, and I think that's where they actually fight. That's like their main area. Here is I think it's their renter that are parked there. So I would think locally that the strongest group is toilet paper, followed by Bender, which are kind of in the same league. Us starting to get slowly into that league, and the other group which are don't have the amount. It's just a question of number of pilot at this point. It's not a question. I'm not questioning their skill level or the quality of the. I mean, the ship they fly and everything. They are all. I mean, they're all sub-holding group. So there's all strong group. But at some point, it's just a number of people on grid which will change the course of a battle. So that's pretty much it for HR. We're still recruiting. Again, the goal for us is to get to the point where we can anchor extra large structure, build Titans and everything. So I'm not stopping anytime soon. Military. What happened this week? The start of the week on the 12th, so that's Monday, Bender did a big attempt to try to entosis BDV3, but if we go in our ADM, you can see that our system are pretty high ADM, so it is not easy to entosis our system. They did have an attempt where they had around 60 people from Silent Company who is working with Banderlog, and Banderlog had another around, I think they had 60 at the point we scouted in 5ZX, which is their main dockup. So we were talking about the total of 120, and they had the gate. They were camping the gate here to get us to catch us on the gate. Obviously, that's a huge number. We were pretty reactive, and we did manage to form around 60 people as a quick form in Serb. So we did a quick form of around 60 people in Serb, and we called one of our allies. So Toilet Paper sent a fleet to come and help us. So all in all, we had I would say close to 120 from our side too. We did engage and scored a few kills, and they got out. So they were in smaller, faster ship, and they got out, and they didn't try to entosis the system for the rest of the week. So that was their third attempt to entosis BDV3, and the third time we stopped them from entosising. So we didn't have we stopped them at the initial timer. So that was Monday. The rest of the week we do have a lot of content fight in the pocket. Quote sent a few times. Quote actually came to our pocket to try to pick fight, and Quote aren't doing like a cheap ass roam. They're doing when they're sending stuff, they're sending like a good ship. So a few of those fights went in their favor, a few went in ours. At one point, one of my FCs got a little bit tired out of them messing around in our pockets, so we did drop 2 revelation on them, which ended up in that fight where we lost 3 bill worth of ship against their 1.9 that we killed. One of that was one of our guys that whelped the Balgorn worth 1.4 bill. That's part of what happened, but all in all, I mean, there's coming to look for a fight, but with Guardian, Dracovac, Triple Repraxis, Balgorn, so it's not the typical roam that you get. But we'll pick those fights, and we will fight them. And basically, the policy that I have in these fights is I don't care as much what I lose as I care about hurting the other team. For defense fight in my space, if I go on a roam, I will do engage and everything. But if people are coming to our space, I kind of want their stuff dead. I want their experience in our space not to be I want them to, when they get out of one space, that they have a bloody nose, so they will think twice about coming back. That's kind of the way I think about that. But I mean, all in all, it's still all content and good fun. So that was like that's the battle report of the biggest fight that we had this week. At the same time, that quote made multiple attack, and that one of our guys were chasing them, literally triggered, came into the pocket with a bunch of caracal, but we were busy fighting quote, and they refed one of our station here in WW. They refed the Raitaru that we had there. The guy just punted to the timer because we couldn't fight. We were busy fighting quote, so we couldn't fight literally triggered. They didn't show up for they actually sent us a mail saying that we were just looking for content, we won't show up. We formed up anyway because just in case Bender would take the advantage and try to push that timer, but nobody showed up for the timer, so it wasn't we had no fight there, so it was just a ref and blue ball after that. Aside from that, the guy did a lot of roam this week, so we will typically sometime we go like this, we go into stereo, we come back to Bander or whatever. I mean, we roam around pure blind, and sometimes we go to either to tribute or somewhere else. Sometimes we will use a filament, but the guy had pretty a bunch of some pretty interesting roam. One of them, we actually stumbled upon an old pos where the shield was down. So, well, the shield was down and there was structure to kill, so we decided to kill structure. So the guy started shooting that extra large ship maintenance array. And as you can see, that was a 3.7 billion kill because, well, there was a Nidhogger in there. So no shield, no pilot, and a Nidhogger. Too bad it didn't drop. But that was an easy cap kill because somebody forgot to fuel their shield. Again, it's nothing targeted. That was just a roam and the guy looking to have fun fighting. So they shot stuff that they found on the way. Aside from that, yeah, last thing that I want to mention, a little bit before we did that video, some guy went in a nightmare to try to rob the BDV3 gate, and we managed to catch him. So we did score a nice kill on a 2.8 bill nightmare. Again, this one we didn't went looking for it. He came and tried to steal our money, and he ended up with I think he stole 70 mil from the ESS, and he lost a 2.8 bill ship, and we got the money, a big chunk of the money back in the loot. So here, how much money did we get back? Yeah, so we did get part of the war bond back, not all of it, obviously. We did get 50 mil here back. So that's pretty much it from the military side. What else can I tell you? Industry. Industry is actually not well. I wouldn't say not progressing well, but with the actual change and the change in mineral price, a lot of our people have actually stopped building cap because they're just too expensive compared to the price that we can sell them. So the price of mineral has climbed a lot faster than the actual price of cap, because I think a lot of people are actually trying to build them before the change. So we did put a stop on that for now, and most of the guys that are still building them will not sell their cap because they're expecting the price to go up. Again, there's no consensus in our corp on where the price of the cap will go. Some people go with current value, and they're expecting with the new blueprint that cap price will raise a lot. Like we're talking 7 bill, 6-7 bill for dread. And I'm more of the camp that think that buying power drive the market, and at some point the price of the component will drop because NFC will not be. I mean, FC the too expensive. If the ships get too expensive, they won't get used, so there will be less demand, and less demand will mean the price will adjust. So I don't think that cap will stay at around 7 bill. I think that they will more or less, it might take a month or two, but I think that the price will stabilize and they will be a little more expensive than before, but I don't expect them to be that much more expensive, because I mean, people got to buy them. if they're too expensive, people aren't going to buy them, and people are especially going to think twice about whelping them. So offer and demand. That's the way I see it. Aside from that, so that's pretty much it for industry. It was a really calm week on that aspect. Political change in pure blind, not much. The big thing here is there's an entosis battle coming to MI6 a little bit, like in about half an hour, so probably by the time the video is published, that battle will have taken place. We will send a few people to try to hunt Bender entosis ship and see if we can pick up some kill there and maybe help a little bit to help Flying Dangerous. But all in all, that's pretty much it on the big change. Toilet paper and quote finish securing the KD. Well, it's not the KDV constellation, but the constellation around KDV. They finished to secure that from Banderlog. So Banderlog actually is getting pushed back into a lot less. I mean, they lost a lot of space because they lost like all these system here to toilet paper and quote, and Flying Dangerous is pushing them hard. Again, Womp hasn't pushed too hard in the pipe, but all in all, they have been reduced a lot. And for us, we haven't started like a very aggressive campaign against them to expand. The timer make that very hard, but at the same time, our number are growing and growing, and we are getting to a point where we will, I can't say when, it really depends on the current, but if we keep growing at the current pace, I think that within probably a month or maybe two, we will have surpassed Bender in the number of pilots that we can put on grid. And at that point, it's just a question of their bad timer and our will to alarm clock to fight them. Because they can bat phone, we can bat phone, so all in all, but it's a lot harder to bat phone ally to alarm clock on an offensive timer. I mean, you need to find people that are willing to wake up at 5 a.m. to help you gain space. It's not as easy, but we'll see how that progress. So I figure here, I'm not sure if Bender will form or not. It's not a good time for them too, and that's the problem with time zone tanking like that. Is it's hard for you too, and they have been time zone tanking for a long time, but against multiple opponents. So like if 1 week toilet paper alarm clock and the other week flying dangerous alarm clock and the other week we alarm clock, but Bender has to alarm clock every week. So I'm not sure how efficient, how long term they can maintain that type of commitment. But we'll see. So that's about it. I think I've covered the usual section. Hopefully you guys enjoy this week's episode. I will what to expect in the next coming week. We are looking at our focus right now is crabbing to increase our liquid disk, and our next big step on the roadmap is that we want to get a Tetera. Reaction are going to become more and more important with the new industrial update. So we would like to get to a point where we could anchor a Tetera, and that would mean that we would own like one of each type of large structure, and then we keep pushing forward to eventually get to a point where we are able to build supercap. That's longer term. Obviously trying to grow in size, and we are at a point where I think that we are making good use of our current space, but we could definitely start to expand a little bit with the number of pilots that we get. That we have, the number of active pilots that we have. So we are at a point where we are looking at a few more systems, and I'm not going to shoot Volta and I'm not going to shoot Flying Dangerous, so it's pretty much leaving us with one area of expansion. If Bender wanted to sell, or actually if anybody in the area wanted to sell, I would be open to negotiation. I've already talked with them, but yeah. So these, I mean, right now there's no real lead short term. We will see how that situation evolves. These things are these negotiations. Sometimes you can talk about something and nothing happened for a month, and then in the span of one evening you get 3 or 4 calls and you end up with something that lead to a change on the map. So we will see how that goes in the future. So hope you guys enjoy and see you next week. Bye bye.